Some gaming experiences really stick with you, and that first time you enter that new world is forever etched in your mind. I know I can't be the only one who's hopped into a new game and just felt so happy to be alive at that period in time on some real nerd stuff. And today, we'll be taking a look at 3 games I know that are still stuck on the minds of mine and many other gamers. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications on. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers and I have a lot of great content on the channel and planned for you all. And be sure to join our Discord server, linked in the description down below. Also, share in the comments your own top 3 list of games you'll never forget. I'm really eager to get into this video, so I won't hold this up any longer. Let's get right into it. Prior to 2018, it felt like we had gone years without a genuinely great Spider-Man game. Now I'm old enough to have owned and played the Spider-Man 2 movie tie-in game back in its prime, and for many others, that game was peak Spider-Man, and I had that opinion for many years. In the years following the original Spider-Man 2's release, we did get some really good Spider-Man games, like Ultimate Spider-Man, Shattered Dimensions, and Web of Shadows, those being the most memorable in my opinion, but they just didn't hit as hard as that first Spider-Man 2 experience. But then, in the summer of 2016, we were fortunate enough to get a glimpse at that year's E3 and got our first look at Insomniac Spider-Man, and when I tell you I screeched, it was probably the most hype I've ever been for a video game trailer. And I'm not even the type to get super geeked up, but hey man, it's Spider-Man. And while the wait was brutal, like we had to go through 2 more E3 showcases before its eventual release in September of 2018, it was well worth it as Spider-Man was back and better than ever. Much like what the Arkham games did for Batman, I find this Spider-Man game to be on equal footing. We recently talked about the Batman Arkham games and how that game captured what it really meant to be the Dark Knight, and for the first time in a while, that was finally done for Spider-Man. Like, it might be cliche to say this, but this game really does make you feel like Spider-Man. And it's not a Spider-Man game without the web slinging, and this is probably the best we've gotten up until this point. The movie tie-in Spider-Man 2 game was renowned for its web slinging, and the one in this game is more refined, like it feels weightier but still satisfying, and it's its own little thing to master, getting the right momentum with your swings. The combat is very Arkham-esque, but with its own spider flair, supplemented by a multitude of different gears that you can use during your encounters to handle your enemies. There's also a large variety of costumes to choose from, to the point where you probably won't even wear most of them unless you go out your way, but it's just one of those things that you'd much rather have more than less of. The story feels like a comic book tale, with the classic villains like the Sinister Six, as well as some more recent newcomers like the main villain of the story, Mr. Negative. And I don't think I'm speaking for myself when I think most people will say that this story is definitely more than enjoyable. Like, don't get me started on that scene with Aunt May. That whole moment just perfectly encapsulates what Spider-Man is about. Like, the woman who literally raised him is dying in front of him, and he has the opportunity to save her with the cure physically in hand. But saving her will come at the cost of thousands of other lives, and what does he do? The hard but right choice. Spider-Man is a character about sacrifices and morality, and he always prioritizes the needs of others above his own, and like, I'm done chatting about this, but that scene was just perfect. Yuri Lowenthal is one of the voice acting goats. Like, this guy is literally Sasuke and Ben 10, and he does a fantastic job as Spider-Man in this game. And I say this to bring it up because Spider-Man is always talking, always with the quips and jokes, so they picked the right guy for the job if you're going to be listening to him the entire time. I do plan on talking about the sequel to this game in a future video, so make sure you're subscribed. And that game did do things very well and even better than the original, but there's nothing like playing this game for the first time. And I want to quickly mention that this game does also have 3 separate story DLCs that come with the remastered version. I can continue to go on about Insomniac Spider-Man, like this is the first game that I also went on to Platinum, but I'll stop there. If you haven't played this game yet, the remaster is available on PC and PS5, and I highly recommend it. If we want to talk about one of the best launch titles ever for a console, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Nintendo Switch is number 1 on my list. Like, this was a game that had more freaking copies sold than the actual console itself at one point. Breath of the Wild brought the Legend of Zelda series to the modern era, and my first experience playing it is something I could never forget. Like, the game just drops you into this vast open world and essentially says, good luck out there. This is a concept that was so fun and done nearly flawlessly, and something I've only experienced in 2 other games, being its sequel, Tears of the Kingdom and Elden Ring. You can experience the game however you want, as it's non-linear. Like, this is a true open world game. Like, I remember the first time finding out that you can just go straight to the final boss, Calamity Ganon, and face him once you leave the Great Plateau, which is the starting area. And while I never did that, the idea itself was just cool in my opinion. Our cast here is fully fleshed out and interactive, since for the first time in a Zelda game, there's fully voice acted cutscenes that provide us with glimpses to the events that happened 100 years prior to Link waking up in the Shrine of Resurrection. The Sheikah Slate provided to you in the beginning of the game plays a vital role as it hosts all of your tools and abilities, and it's very innovative and allows for you to play and figure out solutions to your obstacles in many different ways. It's also capable of activating towers around the world to help you reveal more of the map, and these towers also act as fast travel points alongside the shrines. For a Switch game too, the art style and graphics really fit the device and world, and the combat is still very much 3D Zelda. The physics engine is also something to boast about, as it has very cool effects with fire and lightning and just being very overall reactive with the world. The most divisive thing about this game was the weapon durability, and while it can be inconvenient at times, I've never made it out to be the worst thing in the world, like how many others may feel, but you'll just have to decide for yourself. I spent countless hours in Hyrule exploring, and for one, I did enjoy the shrines in this game, and while they and the Divine Beasts were no replacement for the traditional dungeons, they still offer a really fun challenge and puzzle solving element that we've come to love from the Zelda series. You don't even need to be a Legend of Zelda fan or even know about the franchise to really enjoy this game either. A couple of my friends have never played Zelda outside of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and both of those games are near on the top of their favorites list. Now that I've mentioned Elden Ring earlier too, playing these games for the first time gave me a very similar feeling, and I feel like there are definitely a lot of similarities between these two, mainly regarding the world and gameplay, not comparing difficulty of course, but the essence of go out there and get good remains for both of these games. If you're a fan of the original Zelda formula, this game was a pretty massive departure from that, but it still manages to capture the soul of a Zelda game, but with added elements of exploration, customization, and a proper modern twist. It's taken me a while to give Red Dead Redemption 2 its own dedicated part in a video like this, but when we talk about life-changing games, RDR2 is a game that has yet to be topped in my opinion. And for all the praise this game gets already, I'll find any opportunity I can to bolster it up even more, because if you want to talk about a complete gaming experience, this game has it all. I can't think of another game that captures an era in history so well, and whether it be the story, gameplay, or graphics, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the full package, because most games may lack in either one of those departments, but Red Dead damn near feels like it's 10s across the board. This game actually came out about a month after Spider-Man in 2018, so I was literally able to play two of my favorite games of all time back to back. For a little story context, you play as Arthur Morgan, a member of the Dutch Vanderlyn gang, and after a botched heist in Blackwater, you and your gang find yourselves having to adapt to the ever-changing times that are outgrowing the Wild West and the antics that come with it. We've highlighted a few Rockstar characters when looking back at GTA 4, and Arthur Morgan can be added to that list of all-time great or memorable video game protagonists. I can't recall a game outside of the series that has really given you a full experience of being a cowboy and living in the late 1800s America, as it's making its push to being a fully industrialized nation, and at that time and setting really makes an amazing yet authentic experience. You can find yourselves on either extremes of the law with the honor system, which has actual ramifications at certain points. You can explore the open frontier, hunt, collect bounties, hog-tie people, is what you can expect from being a cowboy in the late 1800s, and the story is full of fun and interesting characters, twists, and betrayals. Like, you're not missing out on anything with this game. Combat is always a fun part in Rockstar games, and to me, this is the best version of it all in any of their games, as it feels the most reactive and realistic. There's just so much detail placed into this game, too many to point out in just this one video, but like the minor things like Arthur's beard growing over time, or like mud stains on your clothes, it's like true attention to detail that really separates this game from even other all-time great titles. And for a game that released in 2018, it still looks gorgeous, if you have a capable enough PC, because it's no doubt the best way to play it, since there's no next-gen versions for this game, which is absolutely criminal. But no matter how you play it, I can guarantee it will be one of the best gaming experiences you can have. Like, there's not much more I can say about this game really. I played through it twice, and it's one of the most highly regarded games of all time for a reason. But that's gonna wrap up this video, everyone. What are your thoughts on the games I've mentioned, and what are 3 games that will always stick with you? Let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't already, join our Discord server, Bril's Lair, to keep with our community, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more gaming content like this. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers, so all support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to go the extra mile, we recently received access to the channel members feature, so join today for a special shout out at the end of videos and for a big virtual hug from me. And if you haven't yet, check out these 2 videos on the screen. I'm sure you'll love them. But I'm out of here, y'all. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. Peace.